reality star. Tune in to the Tyler Henry Hollywood Medium After Show, Season 2, Episode 9 in just a second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Spice up your life. Spice up your life. That's some Spice Girls for you. We have to pay homage to Mel B. There is a Spice Girls reunion coming up, as they mentioned on Tyler Henry Hollywood Medium. Right now, we're not joined by anyone. Everyone ghosted on me. In true Hollywood Medium fashion, now we can have some psychics tap into Jana and Ava. Maybe next time they'll join us, share their thoughts in the live stream below. But they are sick today. They will be coming back with us next week. It's going to be a lot of fun next week as well. But I wanted to get started. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Mina Makes Magic. And make sure to please tune into the live chat. Share your thoughts below. I want to hear if you guys think this whole Tyler Henry Hollywood Medium thing is real, if it's fake, if there's some truth to the whole psychic reading ability thing. I'm a little on the fence. This episode, I still feel the same way as last episode, where I feel like sometimes there's something there, other times it's a bit of a stretch. But the episode does start with Mel B, a former Spice Girl, Scary Spice, for all of you guys who remember the whole Spice Girl phenomenon back in 1996, where it all started. And they're trying to tap in, Tyler Henry is trying to tap into Mel B and figure out if he can find anyone from her past and connect to them. And he does connect to one very important patriarch of the family, which is her grandfather. And she mentions on the show that she is much closer to her grandfather than to her dad because she has had some issues with her dad in the past. A lot of time has elapsed since they filmed this show. A few months has passed, and Mel B has been in the news a ton. So it would be really interesting to know, what Tyler Henry would say for a second reading, because sadly her dad has passed away recently. And I believe that this was after the initial filming of the show. And a lot of other crazy stuff has been going on with Mel B. So if you tune into TMZ.com or any other media outlets online, you can read up on what's going on with her and Stephen Belafonte. It's honestly really, really sad, and genuinely wish her the best. The cool thing is that the beautiful thing with this whole reading into her past and Stephen tapping into her grandfather is that we find out that Mel B has had a lot of conversations with her grandfather in the past where they've talked about death, and he told her that he's not scared of death at all. And Tyler Henry did mention that. He mentioned that when he transitioned, he saw the other side before transitioning to death, which is very rare, and I guess a beautiful thing, and it's the reason why her grandfather wasn't scared to pass at all. And she did share with Tyler Henry, as you saw in the episode, that he would always say that he wasn't worried about death, and he did pass away from cancer. No one ever knew he had it because he didn't want anyone to be worried about him. He knew that there was nothing that anyone could possibly do to prevent his fate, and it wasn't something that he feared, which is always interesting. Share your thoughts in the live chat. Are you guys terrified of death? Do you accept it? Is it this Lion King thing where you figure out, hey, it's the circle of life? I know my time will come when it's ready. Looking at the live chat right now, waiting for you guys to tap in, share your thoughts with me. I know death is definitely a scary thing. No one ever really looks forward to it. But we also find out with Mel B that Tyler Henry is predicting that she has an opportunity to work with some of the people she's worked with before. And he says, you might work with one of them, you might work with some of them, but you're not going to work with all of them. And when he says this, I kind of laugh a little bit on the inside because it's the most generic blanket statement that you could possibly ever make. And it sounds like one of those daily horoscope things you read on Yahoo where it says, you will have a good day today and you will see something special, where pretty much it can happen to anyone depending on how you read it. But the minute that Mel B hears this, she's just blown away because she's like, that's crazy. I am working with some people. I actually have talks to have a new Spice Girl reunion. So I looked this up. There is a Spice Girl reunion happening, guys. It's not going to have two key members, though. So Mel C and Victoria Beckham aren't going to be a part of the reunion, but, Baby Spice and I believe Ginger will be a part of it. Let me know if I'm forgetting anyone else. But it's going to be exciting. It's a whole 90s reunion. I really did like the Mel B reading, although I was a little torn as to what parts were real, what parts weren't. I like that she had the closure with her grandfather, and she did tear up a bit because obviously it's very emotional if you're tapping into someone who's passed away. But at the same time, there were so many parts that I'm still on the fence about, like I said earlier. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know, do you think that this is something that could have been easily looked up? Could the Spice Girls reunion have been easily looked up? Or is it something that Tyler actually has a gift for that no one could have possibly found out they were planning to have a reunion, or that they were in talks of having a reunion? Apparently the grandfather knew about it and he's watching over her, according to Tyler Henry, and that definitely made Mel B happy. And I do want to move on to the next person on the list, who is Jana Kramer, who's a country singer. So I wasn't super familiar with her, to be honest, when I saw the show, but I did a little bit of research, and it was so nice. She came in with a great energy, as Tyler Henry was saying, and he was talking about how her daughter is a miracle, and he predicted that she's going to have another son. Whether or not it's going to be through a pregnancy or she's going to be a mother figure to a boy is unclear, but she said that Tyler Henry did say that she would be a mother figure to one more boy. She was so happy to hear that. But no one actually came through to Tyler Henry for Jana Kramer. He did have a reading with her, and a lot of people were coming through, but they were mainly for the people on the sidelines who Jana was tied to, like her best friend. And he was carrying an object, and he found out that someone's mother had passed, and she was a heavy smoker, had lung cancer, but then later on he refines the reading and says that it was from ovarian cancer, and he tapped into Leslie's mom. Leslie is one of Jana's best friends, and it was really beautiful that even though he didn't really tap into anyone from Jana's past, that he could help out one of her best friends and give her the closure that she needed. And it was so sweet to see how Jana was, so happy for her best friend to finally find peace with this, and to realize it was so beneficial for her best friend to tag along. But I would have loved to see something else for Jana, and hopefully, he can do some future readings for her. But I do want to quickly move on to Reza now, because I felt like Jana, there wasn't a ton going on there for her. But with Reza, keep in mind Reza is one of the Shahs of Sunset, and it's a really fun reality show. If you haven't tuned into it, it's on Bravo. And the thing with Reza is he had met Tyler Henry before at some sort of party in New York. That's what he mentioned on the show, and he's always been fascinated by this. And same here, Reza. I'm on the same page as you. I really would want a reading done by Tyler. I want to see if this is something real. I want to see if it's something that I can buy into or believe in. I'm still open, even though I'm skeptical. I'm optimistic that, maybe this is a gift that Tyler has. Maybe it is real. Maybe it's not an overly produced e-show. But I did have mixed feelings on this reading as well. And Reza said something very interesting, where he said so many questions go through his head when he's thinking about mediums and he's thinking about life and death. And one of the very interesting things he says is something I've always thought about, to be honest, my entire life. When I think about death, I think about the same thing that Reza mentioned, which is, are they the age when they died? Do they speak foreign languages? Like, what is it like when someone you love dies? Because they can die at a certain age, but are they the same age they are when they died? Like, if they die in old age, are they 90 years old in heaven, or are they going to be 20 years old? Does age even exist, or is age some sort of construct that doesn't exist in heaven as it does on earth? I've always been curious about that, and Reza says this in a very funny, playful way, and I was just so excited to watch his reading. His was probably one of my favorites out of the 4 people. And he mentions how there's a lot about his family he doesn't know, because so many of them are from Iran who have passed, and he can't just go to Iran.com to find out where he came from, which I thought was pretty funny. And he does want to feel that tie and connection to his past and learn more about himself through the people around him who passed when he was very, very young. So he does do the reading. He mentions that his dad was Jewish, his mom is Muslim, and there was like a lot of turmoil between the two families because his dad almost had to choose sides and disconnect from his family by marrying a Muslim woman. And one of the most beautiful things about this reading was that his father did come through, and he mentioned that, you know, he's so proud of him and his wedding, and he's so happy for him. And this was such a beautiful moment because for those of you who don't know Reza, Reza is gay, and he mentioned that he was so worried that he thought that his father's side would be homophobic, and it's not something that they would readily accept of him. So he starts tearing up, and he explains that it was such a beautiful moment for him, and he was so happy that he got to chat with Tyler about it. And I was happy for Reza that he did get that closure. One of the objects he gave to Tyler Henry were a bunch of, I guess they were like a bunch of pieces from one of his grandfather's uniforms, and it was all like jumbled up, and he just placed it in Tyler Henry's hand, and Tyler starts saying, "I see something. I see the Star of David." And after Tyler Henry says that, he says, "Is that a Jewish symbol?" And I just kind of started laughing. I'm like, how would you know what the Star of David is and see it and know what it's called and then ask if it's a Jewish symbol as a subsequent, as a subsequent question? You obviously know that it is a Jewish symbol. So that kind of threw me off in a way where I felt like he saw the Star of David because Reza had already told him earlier on that his dad is Jewish. So I felt like that was almost fishing for something. That was one of the very few parts that I didn't find believable. But Reza takes that vision that Tyler Henry has, and he's like, "That's really interesting that you say that." I think, and he calls his mom, and he really realizes that maybe this means that his grandfather from his father's side is trying to quiet down his grandfather from his mom's side, who he's trying to connect to right now. And when he calls his mom makes a joke and verifies that, you know, her dad is super quiet and he's kind of low key. So it's obviously her late husband's father, who's kind of silencing him because he's such a loudmouth. So I thought that part was really funny, but I did think it was a bit of a stretch to mention the Star of David and see if there was any sort of connection there, because Tyler Henry just randomly brought it up, and instead of digging in further, he asked Reza if it meant anything. Still on the fence about that. That's why I figured, I don't know if this is quite believable, but I was still holding on to it, still watching until the very end of the episode, where we finally reach our very last person, who is Tionne. And she's the T in TLC. So for those of you guys who don't know TLC, just remember the song No Scrubs from back in the day, one of their biggest hits. That one of the very first things that she says is, "I wonder if this is real," because she remembered seeing a trailer for Tyler Henry Hollywood Medium. I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of us were thinking. Is this real? Is this a thing? Is there such a thing as a medium? Do psychics exist? All of these questions. I know for me personally, I've always been into astrology, and people make fun of me for it. They're like, astrology's not a science, how can you be into it? But the more and more I read about it, the more and more I find so many striking similarities with people who have a specific sign. So in my mind, even though I know something's not a science, I try my very hardest not to be closed off to it. So lately I've been pretty open to this idea of psychics existing in the world and having some sort of talent, although I think a lot of the times that can be crowded by people who are trying to exploit people and make money off of being a supposed psychic when they're not a psychic at all. With Tyler Henry, I do think he has some sort of gift. I just don't know how overly produced the E! Show is, where it takes away from that gift and tries to make something more sensational than what it is. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. We see Tionne, and one of the very first people that Tyler Henry taps into is her best friend. Her name is Lisa, and the first thing he says is that he's getting a vision, and he sees this lady who's very direct and silly, and who's putting her hand out like that and doing some weird movement with it. Tionne immediately starts laughing. She's like, "Yeah, sounds about right." And he makes a reference to South America. He's like, "Is there any sort of connection with your best friend in South America? Like anything going on there?" Tionne replies, "Yes, Honduras. That's actually where she had a car crash." So we later find out that there were 8 people in this crash, and she's the only one who died. And Tyler Henry, while he communicates with her, is realizing that she's happy she's the only one who died and nothing else happened to anyone else, and that her primary concern, Lisa that is is that she didn't want anyone else to be harmed in this accident. And there was some talk about, had this accident happened somewhere like the United States, it probably wouldn't have even happened. It was something about it being in Honduras, which made it like really scary to drive over there or something like that. The other thing about Lisa that became a very emotional topic to discuss is that Lisa does have a connection with Tionne's son. And that's what Tyler Henry immediately said to her afterwards. And we figure out that Tionne has adopted a son and that it's one of the best things that's ever happened to her. And it's really, I guess, satisfying and heartwarming to know that Tionne's best friend Lisa was watching down on her as all of this was happening. So that's how the episode wraps up, is with her finding her peace through communicating with her best friend, because she did go through severe depression when her best friend passed away. She even mentioned how she never really wanted to go outside anymore. She didn't really want to talk to that many people. She just wanted to be alone, which is something that is completely understandable when you lose someone you love that meant so much to you, that you don't really want to have interactions with anyone else, and you're going through a tough time and you need that time to reflect and be away from everyone and everything. So it's nice that she could get her peace that way and know that Lisa was still watching down on her and doing well. I have so many mixed feelings about this episode. If I were to rate my favorite readings out of them all, I did mention that Reza was one of my favorites. I also liked Mel B's. But like I said, what I would really want to see, now that so much has gone on with Mel B in the news, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on with her split from Stephen Belafonte and just so much going on with her. I would really want to see a recap and another reading with Tyler Henry and see what else he gets from that. So share your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about each of these readings. Whose was your favorite reading? Was it the Spice Girl? Was it Mel B's? Was it the Country Singers? Or was it Reza's from the Shaws of Sunset? Or lastly, was it, your favorite TLC member, Tionne? Please share it below. Make sure to tune in next week. We do have to wrap up this show right now. It's been a lot of fun. It definitely will be more fun with Jana and Ava next week. And make sure, if you want to find me on social media, on Instagram or on Twitter, feel free to go to Mina Makes Magic. That's where I'll be. And I'll see you guys all next time. See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.